Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Chris with Inside the U. Thanks for stopping by. The 6th-ranked Miami Hurricanes improved to 7-0 on the season, 3-0 in the ACC with a 52-45 win at Louisville. Certainly a lot of positives from an offensive standpoint in this game that I want to get into. And then defensively, some issues, some concerns pop up once again with the amount of yards and big plays and points that they allow. So get into that as well. Then also just kind of looking at the regular season, the rest of the regular season schedule of 5 games remaining. Take a look there, as well as just my thoughts with where this team is right now and into some postseason stuff. So before I get into all of those things, I just want to say my overall takeaways, my general takeaways from the game. Look, I came away impressed with how Miami played in this game. There were times in the game where it felt like either they were about to lose momentum or they were losing momentum, particularly in the second half, and they found ways to make big plays. They're operating their offense at an elite level. Was really impressed with how they performed there, made big plays, and they're doing so, but with a real sense of urgency, and I say that in the sense that they're not letting these games slip away. They're not letting these moments slip away from them. So they're definitely the team that is hunted in the ACC with how they performed early on in the season, rising to being the top-ranked team after week 1 in the AP Top 25 poll. And I think that's what you're seeing. You're seeing a lot of teams operate at a high level against them, essentially bringing their best. And Miami's finding ways, and they're finding ways on the road to win these games and doing so in high fashion. So I didn't think Miami was going to win this game going into it because of some of the issues that I've been seeing defensively in ACC competition. And some of that did pop up in this game. But once again, Miami deserves a lot of credit for overcoming those and getting the win. And they deserve a lot of respect for getting the win. So a lot of people should be excited with how they performed and the things that they're showing from a positive standpoint and with how things look moving forward. Offensively, once again, operating at a really high level. Cam Ward is playing at an elite level, over 500 yards of total offense for the Hurricanes. That was over 300 passing, over 200 rushing. Also, another thing that I find really interesting, I've been keeping track of, Miami has scored in every quarter this season. So obviously when you have an offense like that just continues to put up points, it's really impressive. And they're just not having these moments where they're not operating at a high level. And then today's game, over 10 points in each quarter. So really good performance offensively. And to me, the most impressive thing was the run game with how they performed. I've been very critical. I've been very apprehensive about this run game, essentially saying I didn't think they could lean on the run game to win a game for them. And certainly passing game was extremely efficient. A quarterback rating for Cam Ward, nearly 200, with the 4 touchdown passes, no turnovers there. So he was once again operating at a really high level. But the run game, I think this is what the staff envisioned for this run game, to have multiple backs, be productive, get yards, in between the tackles, big plays. And look, with how the 3 guys performed, and Mark Fletcher got the start over Damian Martinez, played well. He did have that fumble, but he played well. Martinez steps in. To me, I think he had his best play of the year with that 30-yard touchdown, a really crucial time there in the second half there. And then also A.J. Allen gets in there, kind of gets the nod over Jordan Lyle. A.J. Allen gets his first carry in the fourth quarter, comes up with 5 carries there in productive day. All 3 guys had a yards per carry average over 5.5. So that was good to see. Just that they could lean on the running backs. They got the yards there, and they made plays. And look, in particular with Martinez and Fletcher, each of them had 4 runs of 8 yards or more. And to me, I've been talking about that. To me, that's a productive day. Not only if you reel off a big long run, but just that consistent, really productive run. And certainly you're taking 8 every time. There's no doubt about that. So they're getting those really good chunk runs in there. And that's what I saw today. I thought they could lean on it. They could have ran as much as they wanted to. And Louisville was having a tough time stopping them. So another huge performance from Cam Ward, goes 21 of 32, 309 yards, 4 touchdowns, no turnovers. Had some rushing yards mixed in as well. To me, I think it was his best performance in an ACC game this season. So that's a good sign there for him to bounce back. He had some good moments in the Virginia Tech and Cal game, but for the totality of a game, I thought this was his best game overall. And look, those 4 touchdown passes were to his main 4 wide receivers that he throws the ball to. And that was impressive. It started off with that nice rollout to Jacoby George off the left, just an elite level play that not a lot of quarterbacks can make. Then he had that big, long touchdown pass to Sam Brown. Good to see Sam highly involved, well over 100 yards there in the big plays. And then also 2 red zone touchdown passes. The Xavier Restrepo one, that's something when we were allowed to be at practices, I would see that play all the time, that red zone pass to Xavier. So no surprise to see it in a game. And then also that quick slant to Isaiah Horton, who got good inside, made a good inside move there on the slant and came down with the touchdown. So 4 touchdown passes. You've got to be really encouraged with what you saw from the offense. And once again, Cam Ward leading the way makes a lot of things very difficult for teams and their defenses. And you got to be excited with what you're seeing from a Miami offensive standpoint, because I don't think it's going to slow down. But also, I definitely want to point this out, because to me, I think it was a huge pivotal play in the game. It was 4th and 1 from your own 34. Game tied at 31 in the third quarter. Miami decides to go for it. And look at that time. Louisville had scored 2 touchdowns in a row to tie it at 31. And Miami goes for it, gets the first down there. A nice 4th down run by Mark Fletcher. Only needed a yard, got it. The very next play was that big pass play to Xavier Restrepo, the 63-yarder. Then the slant touchdown by Isaiah. So huge momentum right there. Now, Louisville did tie it back up at 38. But I just thought at that moment, again, it was a gutsy call, not a guarantee that they'd go for it, but they did, they got it. It ended up being, I think, a pivotal play, because if they didn't get it, you're talking about another touchdown. Maybe Louisville takes the lead there, and maybe all of a sudden they're starting to feel even better about themselves. And maybe Miami, you don't get the best out of Miami down the stretch like you saw. But again, it can happen fast, and that's the thing with this team. You get that first down, the 60-yard bomb, and now you're back in, really in control of the game. Okay, so when taking a look at this defense, certainly the yards and the big plays are piling up. It's way too many points as well. And, there's a kickoff return touchdown mixed in there as well, so definitely want to mention that. But you know what? With the defense, I think one thing that I'm kind of noticing with maybe the reaction or, how people are kind of perceiving what's going on with defense. For me, I've kind of had concerns with the back, particularly with the secondary. I didn't think it was very good going into the season. So they're performing at a level that I'm not overly surprised with. I was more surprised early on in the year when they were playing well. So to see them have some struggles at times, it's not all that surprising. And I think that's one of the things with the defense. I've never felt like this team was going to be led by its defense. Now, the defensive line, and this is where I think that improvements need to be made, because I think the defensive line as a whole, as a unit, and maybe it's going to take a little bit more time for Ruben Bain to really make a huge impact like what we saw a year ago. And we have seen moments in his 2 games back here, but I think the defensive line is going to have to play at a higher level. And I think there's a level that they can get to. Now, the guys in the secondary, I think, can they have to do a better job of not allowing huge plays against them, but just got to stay with their guys as much as possible. And you're going to allow passes. That's going to happen. I think everyone just has to understand that. That's how defenses are built. You're not going to allow teams to have under 100 yards passing or anything like that. So a little bit of patience, a little bit of understanding of what this team is. And the one thing I do want to mention with Lance Guidry, last year he had to make an adjustment with his scheme and how he wanted to line up the team, and whether because of the lineman injuries and how they wanted to run a little bit more of a stack type defense, and I think he's going to continue to take a look. Now, what moves can actually be made, it's a little hard to tell. Even personnel moves, it's hard to say what moves can exactly be made. We did see Zaquan Patterson in there, a lot more there. So maybe that is a move that will continue if Jaden Harris continues to struggle there. So that's something to pay attention to, and we'll just kind of have to see. But I think, Coach Guidry is going to do his best to kind of continue to make adjustments. Now, giving up 39 points in an ACC game is not sustainable, probably, for success, because you're not expecting Miami to always be able to continue to put up a lot of points, the 40s or 50s to win an ACC game. But I don't think Miami's going to give up 39 points every ACC game moving forward. 5 games left, I don't think that they're going to continue to do that. I think you're going to see some improvements. Now, will it be less than 20 in a game? I don't see that happening, but I think they're just going to do a better job. And I think that's the thing about a little bit of encouragement is they might be at their worst right now, but I think the encouraging thing is I think they can get a little bit better defensively than what they've shown. and you still have the offense operate at an elite level. So if the defense gets a little bit better, because I think there's room to be better, and I don't think that the offense is going to take a dip. I think the offense is going to continue to operate at a high level, and this is why you should be encouraged, because if the offense continues to play like it has been, the defense gets a little bit better, I think Miami's going to be just fine. And I know it might feel a little rough at times because it doesn't look great. The defense isn't playing as well as the offense, but it never was going to be that all season long going into this year. That's just not what this team is. That's not how it was built. And that's not what it's going to be. And it doesn't have to be for this team to be successful, as we've already seen this year. So let's take a look at the schedule here. 5 games remaining, Florida State up next. And look, Florida State's had a lot of struggles this season. I don't expect that to be a threat for Miami. I expect Miami to win in a blowout. Also Duke, a home game. So next 2 games are at home. I think Miami's going to win that. Duke's off to a good start, having a good season. I just think Miami is a lot better, and their offense is going to be able to continue to operate at a high level. So I think Miami's going to win their next 2 very comfortably. Same way with the home game against Wake Forest as well. I think if you're looking at maybe 2 threatening games for Miami, I think that Georgia Tech, but I think you got to pay attention to Georgia Tech and the quarterback situation there. But again, I would expect Miami to be able to go to Atlanta and win at Georgia Tech. Going to Georgia Tech is going to be maybe a challenge. But, in the Syracuse one, that's going to be the interesting one, because I think everyone's going to kind of look back at 2017 with Miami, how they started 10-0 in that last regular season game, falling to Pitt. Syracuse, that's a passing offense that's been operating well. You're going on the road. It'll be an interesting environment there. So we'll see how things kind of play out. Just kind of keep your eye on how Syracuse is playing throughout the season, and maybe it won't be a threat at all, but that's just something to look forward to, later on. Still a lot of games before that. Big picture wise, in terms of the postseason, or maybe how you evaluate this team, I think a lot of it has to be with what your expectations are. Not necessarily what they were to begin the season, but maybe right now. Are you looking at this team as the goal is to get to Charlotte for the ACC championship game? If that's how you're seeing this team, and when you get there, see what happens. If it's Clemson, it looks like it'll be Clemson. There's no doubt about that. How do you match up against Clemson? Are you going to be ready for that? Can you win the ACC? That's another question to have. That's another answer to discuss. But if it's just to get to ACC championship game, I think Miami is well on track for that. Now, if you're evaluating this team as going deep into the playoffs, or if they're ranked number 6 right now, are they a legitimate national title contender? At this time, I think it maybe you're concerned, and I would agree. I don't think this team is that right now because of their defense. It's just not sustainable to make a deep playoff run, I don't think, if you continue to play defense the way that they're playing. And I think the teams that will have these deep playoff runs, the team that will be one of these Final 4 teams or the final 2 in the championship game, I think they'll be good defensive teams. So that's going to wrap it up. Definitely let me know what your thoughts are. How do you view this team? I think that's the biggest thing. The biggest question I have for everybody is what are your expectations right now? Is it beyond? Is it to have put together one of these magical seasons, or how are you kind of viewing it? Or maybe you're looking at it like, look, I think something's going to happen here in the regular season, and maybe you do have concerns that this team will not be in Charlotte. So definitely let me know. What are you kind of thinking with this team, your expectations of them, how you kind of viewed today? Were you pretty excited with what you saw? Because again, 52 points is exciting, and I think things would feel a lot different if it was a 7-point win and Miami only scored, for example, 24. If it was a 24-17 win, that would feel much different. But I just think Miami's being a very difficult team to stop. So you should be excited. Once again, I was impressed, and they deserve a lot of credit for the win. Thanks for watching. Have a good rest of the day, and take care.